Now, I just think about this and it's like, haven't you learned already? There are so many people that have been caught up with this CV19 relief money, the loans or the funds, and they've used other names, but I just don't get why people think that they're going to be the one to not get caught. Now, here we are, another pastor. He's out of Georgia. He is the latest. You see what I'm saying? The latest in a line of individuals to admit to CV related funding fraud, another pastor. And so the U.S. Attorney, excuse me, Office for the Southern District of Georgia announced Friday that Mac Devon Knight, he's only 45, he's a young pastor of Kingsland, Georgia, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of wire fraud after receiving $149,900 in fraudulent government funding from the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration. Now, he faces a potential prison sentence of up to 20 years, in addition to substantial financial penalties and restitution. Any completed prison sentence could result in up to 3 years of supervised release. There is no parole in the federal system. Now, I want to stop right there because what I don't understand is if you are a pastor and you are supposed to be, set an example, you're supposed to be close to Christ, setting an example for the congregation and for the community and for the community, the congregation, you as a leader, and you're taking money and misusing it. But then you expect people to listen to you. And you wonder why people are so out of order and so disobedient because the walk don't line up with the talk. Now, I told you all that there's a lot of actors in these pulpits, and when they get done acting, they go back to doing the bad stuff that they've been doing. Now, I know folks make mistakes, so let's don't sit up here and say, well, we human, we make, but come on now, you are past that, because if you are a pastor and you've been called, God don't call you to make these type of mistakes. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? And maybe it was a small church, maybe it was a big church, but maybe it didn't have the backing that these really big mega churches have, so therefore you wasn't getting the salary to buy this type of car. But a car, if it's a decent car that gets you from point A to point B, it can take you around the world if you need to go, as long as it's a good car with no mechanical issues. You understand what I'm saying, people? So this man now is facing prison time and he has to pay this money back. And so, so anyway, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia, David Esty, said in a statement, "I have made fraud related to these funds a priority, and Mac Knight's prosecution should once again make it clear that this office and our law enforcement partners will not tolerate those who would try to personally profit from this program by inventing businesses and submitting fake documents." And it says the court documents and testimony from February and March 2021 revealed that Knight, who according to the government made himself out to be a pastor. So was he really a real pastor? He made himself out to be a pastor, mortician, restaurateur, and tax preparer. Reportedly applied for economic injury disaster relief, the EIDL, okay, from the SBA on behalf of multiple Camden County, Georgia businesses. That's a big no-no because they're going to come after you. If you got one, they're going to get them. They may not get all, but they're working towards it, okay? So the EIDL applications revealed that Knight lied. Now, he lied about multiple business, which he claimed add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars of gross revenue prior to the CV19 pandemic. Knight's guilty plea was an admittance not only that the EIDL applications were fraudulent, but that documents he sent to the SBA, including a fake tax document and an altered bank record, were also fabricated. And you know something? People are fabricating bank records It used to be they were fabricating some other things, you know. Now it's like IDs, but now it's bank records. Now it's tax records. I mean, don't you know that the IRS has a database of information on you if you've ever filed taxes? That is why some people get audited, because sometimes when things just look so unusual or so unnormal for a person that usually might be consistent in filing their taxes, you know, and they start looking at those things. But he's out of Georgia. He claims he's a pastor, and I'm not saying he's not, because that's what they say, allegedly, but this article say they are from Newsweek. So I'm just reporting what the article said. But I'm just saying, and another one bites the dust, because you know what they said. You hear what Esther said now, right? They going after folks. So a large portion of the money that Nike received from the SBA was reportedly, used to purchase a Mercedes-Benz S-Class sedan, which, due to his plea agreement, will be forfeited to the United States. Now, you see what's going on with this? You had that little car, and I'm going to say little car, but maybe it's not a little car, a nice car, Mercedes Benz. I've never been interested in Mercedes Benz, but however, you know, whatever, he was interested, and he wanted to ride in style. But now he had to give it up just for the short time that he had it. And then he admitted he did those things. Why lie on your applications and then turn around and admit you did wrong? Because to me, you already know you're going to get caught. So did you want to just test drive the Mercedes S-Class? You could have just test drove it. You could have just went to the lot and said, I like to test drive it. I'm interested. You know, I don't know what car I want to buy. You know, you could have gave them a little story like that. And they would have, you know, made sure they took your ID and maybe even put you in a handcuff with the you know, salesperson to make sure that you're not going nowhere with this car when y'all take y'all test drive. I really don't know. All I'm saying is, if you really wanted to just see what it was like to drive a luxury car, why didn't you just go and ask the test driver and say, you know, I'm undecided. I'm undecided about the S class or the C class, or I'm just undecided. All you had to do, I'm undecided about the, you know, the Mercedes Benz SUV. You could have said something, but no, no, no. You had to take some money that didn't belong to you, that you got fraudulently. Don't y'all realize that any money you get, if you fraudulently get it, it really still don't belong to you? Because they can come after you and they can take that money back and they can prosecute you. You know, I love my freedom. How many of you, go off in the comments, how many of you love your freedom? How many of you? Tell me who you are, because see, I love my freedom. But look, go on, let's talk about it some more. In December, Roy Dotson, the Secret Service National Pandemic Fraud Recovery Coordinator, said about 100 billion of approximately 3 trillion, they haven't even hit it close to getting that money back, were stolen. The funds were stolen. The relief funds, the CV19 funds were stolen. They're not going because they're never going to be able to recover all of that money. You know why? Because some of it was disposable money where people went and ate at restaurants. And they either going to have to try to get it from the person that they're charging that did these crimes, or it's just gone bye-bye for good. They've ate, you know, they've spent the money, they enjoyed their meals at these finer restaurants, and you know, it's gone on. You know what I'm saying? It's gone on down the pipeline. Okay. So data from the Labor Department, the Small Business Administration, and Secret Service cases show that approximately 3% of stolen funding was related to fraudulent unemployment claims. The number of individuals involved in illegal COVID relief schemes continues weekly, according to SBA reports. So see, they going after folks, and it hasn't stopped. So this is still a conversation that we still can keep talking about, because obviously this hasn't changed. And one from January this year involved a former Baltimore prosecutor who was indicted by a federal grand jury on perjury charges and false mortgage applications related to 2 vacation homes in Florida. You guys know who that is. This woman is, I forgot, what's her name? She's a Baltimore prosecutor, and they're saying that she didn't need the money because she made quite a bit of good salary yearly, and so why would she be taking money out, loan out, you know, to buy homes and a vacation home and all of that? So they actually She's actually on trial now. Okay. And then last year, a Texas man was sentenced to 110 months in prison after laundering over $1.6 million in CV19 relief funds, including for the purchase of an Ford F-150 truck, a Rolex watch, and a Lamborghini URUS. See, this is uncalled for, people. See, it's not that serious that you just go ask to test drive these cars. If you feel like it, just go from dealer to dealer. You over here, you test drove. Then maybe another weekend you go and test drive another, and just get it out of your system, man. Because if you can't afford it, then why you up there taking taxpayers' money? Where we got homeless people, people that are hungry, and we sending money over to, other countries, and yet still folks are still getting this CBD relief, but they getting it in a fraudulent manner. Now let's go on. A new COVID-19 fraud strike force was announced on March 17th by Vanessa R. Waldrop, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington, to combat fraud resulting from the pandemic. The announcement included the first criminal charges filed in connection with the strike force. Waldrop and the U.S. Attorney's Office started working with federal law enforcement agencies, including the SBA, Office of Inspector General, FBI Secret Service, and the Internal Revenue Service in February of this year. COVID-19 relief programs, which were essential to lifting our economy and supporting our families, quickly ran out of money due to the number of people and businesses that requested funding, Waldrop said. It is not fair that some deserving small businesses could not obtain funding to keep their business in operation during the CV19 pandemic when others abused the program. And that is correct. So if you're thinking about getting money, please rethink again, because they are coming after you. And this is some good information, dropping this knowledge. Now, the strike force is one way to ensure that limited resources are provided to deserving local business that provide vital services for our communities. So if you are doing things you have no business doing, please do not take that money, because it is vital to a lot of communities, especially the Black community. And so therefore, if you're stealing the money and you're doing it fraudulently, they are going to come after you. You know how the government is, and now they are working in collaboration. You hear all of the entities and organizations that I named, these agencies, that I've named. So guess what? Don't do it, because they're gonna come after you. And those cars that you buy, it's only short-lived. You only having a little fun for a little while. So you might as well just go to the dealer, see if you can test drive one of them cars, get it out of your system, and ask God not to tempt you anymore. Ask God to take away that temptation, because God don't tempt anyone. Excuse me on that. God does not tempt anyone, but ask God to remove the temptation, because you the one got the temptation, and God needs to remove it from your heart, because you should not be tempted by these material things that you are sitting up here getting fraudulent funds to go out and purchase. Okay? So talk to you all soon. God bless you all. Peace out.